Hello and welcome to GKL Leasing's review of the Mercedes C350e plug-in hybrid. So this is the Mercedes C350e plug-in hybrid. It's been around a while, it's been around since last May, so it's 18 months old now in design. One of the first plug-in hybrids to hit the market. Mercedes are going to launch a further, I think, 10, 12 by the end of 2017, so there's a lot of commitment going into this kind of car. Looks like another C-Class. They only do it in Sport as specification, so no SE or AMG line available. Fuel cap in the usual place, charging cap at the rear. The boot has been compromised due to the motor and the batteries, but not a great deal. It lifts the boot a few inches there. The only issue is that because it's a saloon, the actual opening isn't that big, coupled with that's made narrower as well. So a lot of people have opted for the estate model, which we will be looking at also. Motor and drive wise, there's a 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine in the front, and also the electric motor. Only the batteries are in the rear. It's rear wheel drive only, so everything is going through the rear wheels, whether it's engine, electric or both. Aside from that though, it's like any other C-Class Sport Mercedes. And this is the estate model. This one is a Premium Plus model, so it's got larger wheels, it's got full panoramic roof, but aside from that, it's very similar to the saloon model. Obviously it's longer, it's a little bit longer at the back, but it's got a higher roof line to give you more load space. At the rear, it's got the same charge point as on the saloon, identical in fact. And then in the boot, again, the boot height is slightly higher, except there's no lip here. It seems to be a flatter floor than there is in the saloon car, and a really good size boot. Now on the estate car, if you have the full panoramic roof, it can create an issue. So if you go for the Premium or Premium Plus models, the extra weight of the roof means that the car has to have 18-inch wheels. When the car has 18-inch wheels on the estate and the roof, that means it won't do the required range for the plug-in grant. So you don't get your £2,500 from the government for having an ultra-low CO2 car. So just to the left of the trackpad and the roller switch, we've got a dynamic rocker switch. When you flick this back and forth, it comes up here and gives you the options of how you want the car to drive. So at the moment we've got an eco mode. Also tells you on the large screen. Okay, another button to the left, which you might not see whilst you're driving because it's actually unsighted by the trackpad, is this button. And that gives you the modes for the electric drive. So you have E mode, E-save, so that's when it saves the battery for when you need it, when you're on longer journeys. Hybrid mode and charge. Hybrid mode uses both drives, optimizes both drives depending on your conditions. And charge mode is that it physically uses the engine to charge the battery. Charging cables are in 2 bags. Comes with a regular 3-pin and a Type 2 charger. That's your Type 2. And that's your standard 3. So to charge, in this case we'll do it on a standard 3. Oops. push the corner. There's another cap there to open. It says unlock. Push in your charger. Locks into the cap. Then over to your wall socket. Plug in. And you're done. All looks nice and simple. There is an issue though to be wary of. The cable is a heavily coiled cable, and when you try to stretch it anywhere near the 5 meters that you're meant to, it won't reach. Even if it does reach, there will be so much tension on the coil that it's likely to pull the plug out of the socket. So just be careful where you're charging it, where you're positioning your car to start charging. Once charged, you need to unlock the car. To unlock the charger, comes up with a little symbol to say it's unlocked, and then you can pull it out. So again, in the city, we're driving in pure electric mode, or E mode as it's called on this car. What is a little bit odd is that we've got 88% charge according to the large screen in the middle. On my screen in front of me, it says we've only got 13 miles of electric drive, which doesn't really add up to that much charge usually. So currently in E mode, and then push the button here, we go into, push it a few times, go into hybrid, so it's using both drives. This car will use both drives, more electric when it's charged, although when it's nearly discharged it then flips back to using more petrol than electricity. But when it's in a good state of charge like this, it takes quite a kick to put the engine on, if you like. So at the bottom of the Rev Counter there's a percentage power meter, a little bit similar to the Golf system except without a needle. So when you put the power down, it illuminates one way, and then when you coast and brake, it illuminates green the other way to denote that it's recharging. This is so that you don't have to look at the large centre screen all the time just to know what your car is doing. So to regenerate with this vehicle, it won't do it on its own. You've got to do it. So you've got to lightly apply the brake to regenerate energy of any substance into the car. When you coast, it does say that you are regenerating on the large screen. It doesn't say anything on the small indicator. It takes your foot to start braking to do that. Best way of doing that on this car is try to do it earlier for longer as opposed to later and harder. So driving on motorways and dual carriageways in hybrid mode, the car tends to use the engine to get up to speed and then flicks back into electric mode, which doesn't happen as much on some of the other cars that we've driven, where you tend to use the engine most of the time. But hopefully as we come over this hill, there we go, it's now using e-drive at 63 miles an hour in hybrid mode, which is unusual. Now we're down to sort of 50-ish% of battery after a short motorway run. So doing these motorway speeds, although it's good that it does use the electric drive more than the petrol, even at motorway speeds, it does eat into the battery quite heavily because of it. So we're going to have a go at recharging. So we're going to go into charge mode. So it's going to fire up the engine about now, and now we're going to see how much charge we can get into the battery. We're on 13 miles on this trip at the moment. We've got 6 miles of charge. Just a note, whilst you're driving generally on the motorway or anywhere for any kind of distance, you won't be able to see this, but the accelerator pedal kicks your foot off very lightly, and it's designed to tell you that you don't need to put your foot on the pedal to maintain your speed. at the current rate. So the idea is that in turn saves you fuel, better MPG, that kind of thing. It's quite odd though. You might think there might be something wrong with your car. It's not. It's doing it on purpose. So we're now on 21 miles. So we've done 8 miles, and we're charged back up to 73%. It isn't bad. The first half of charge though, so if you run out completely, it will charge much faster from 0 to 50% than it does from 50 to 100%, as all lithium batteries do. But not a bad performance considering we're in the second half of that charge phase. So at our public charge point, you can use an AC charging cable. Because the charging port is on the rear of the vehicle, as long as you can reverse in, it does make it much easier to plug in. So driving along in hybrid mode, we can keep it in hybrid mode but then change the type. So we can go to comfort or to sport. Now sport will firm up the suspension, give you better throttle response, turns the engine on, and we'll use the engine more so than the battery. It will use the battery but as a boost mechanism. And then if that wasn't enough, you can go into Sport Plus, which turns everything up to 11 and allows you to really move. So these do handle a little differently from the standard car because of the battery distribution over the rear axle. It tends to stick a little better than the regular car because it's got a more even weight distribution, with the engine being in the front and the batteries being in the rear. It does seem to steady the car down a little bit more for handling than the regular model. So this is the trip that we've done just now, 37 miles. 20 miles of that was without engine, and it's returned 56.5 to the gallon, which is in line with what we're finding with the real world in terms of MPG. So the air suspension in both the estate car and the saloon car works to correct any ride variances to do with the ground that you're going over or cornering. Helps with the grip, and also helps to keep both the 17-inch wheel model and the 18-inch wheel model feeling about the same in terms of handling. So we're on the hill that we did the Golf with regeneration. So I've got to apply my foot to the foot brake to do this, unlike the Golf. But we're going to see how much the battery increases by percentage. So when we started, it was on 68%, and then we'll see where it ends up when we get to the bottom. So we've added 7% of charge. It's added a mile to the range. So similar to the Golf, except this was in quite the latter part of the battery's charge phase, so it's done pretty well. It will regen quite well because it's a heavier car in that situation than something like the Golf. more information and leasing rates on this as well as other cars, go to gkluk.com or westwardleasing.com.